So this is a short, maybe not so short, a talk about what we worked on in the IntelliJ IDEA and the Scala support for IntelliJ IDEA during the last few years. Basically, the last few years are, of course, the support for Scala free, but that's not all, and that's not all in the Scala plugin, and that's also not all in the IntelliJ IDEA as a whole, because we are not only what we are using in our IDE is not only about the programming language we are working on, but also a lot of features we are using, not dependent on the programming language. But I wanted to start with something else. Every year, JetBrains is conducting a survey among programmers. And in that survey, we ask people from Discord, Twitter, Facebook, whatever there is, what they use, how they use it, what programming language they like, what they don't, and so on. And we try to somehow compare it with the previous years and try to find some trends. Up until the last year, the Scala part of the survey wasn't very well prepared, but we didn't get much answers, and that gave us not much information about the Scala community. This year, for the first time, we were able to get more than 1,300, which I'm very grateful for everyone. If you took part in that survey, that's great, thanks. So one thing that sticks out is that we 77% of people who say that they use Scala in their professional work say also that they use IntelliJ IDEA as their primary IDE, and among the other 23% people who use another IDE, they still claim, more than half of them, that they use IntelliJ IDEA in some way, I don't know, maybe they work on something else during their day work, and then in the evening they code some happy hobby projects in IntelliJ, or maybe the other way around, but they think that the work in IntelliJ is still their secondary one. So that's a lot of pressure. I saw those results and I thought, wow, that's okay, a lot of people depend on us, and I'm really, stressed. Fortunately, that's not me anymore, because even though I started working in IntelliJ as a developer, now I'm fully product marketing manager for IntelliJ, going to conferences and meetups and talk to people, and the rest of my team is working on this. Right, so, but what do we talk about when we talk about the Scala support in IntelliJ IDEA? Mostly people think about inspections and creating projects or importing them and some refactoring, but it's much, much more. That we support different frameworks. That basically means, I'm going to talk about it in a moment, what it basically means. There is new UI, because as I said before, IntelliJ IDEA is okay, we support Scala, but we are also a much more, a really big product, and we have many teams that work on many things that then are used by people who, okay, don't even need to know that those teams exist. So new UI is one of those new features. We will talk a bit about the debugger and Scala support in the debugger. We will talk about compilation charts, which is something that was developed in the Scala plugin, and then it was moved to Java and Kotlin. Yeah, a bit as BTR to contest, I think that's just a nice trick. Well, Advanced Editor is just a name for all those refactorings and inspections and quick fixes. Yeah, I will say something about Scala free support, and also about AI assistance, which is, again, it's not something we work on, but it can help us, and it can help you. Okay, framework support. So that's pretty easy, and as you can see those logos here, we really talk only about Play and a bunch of test frameworks. So usually when we start working, when you work with a Scala project in IntelliJ, you can see that the plugin understands the syntax, understands the Scala collections library. We can help you with some hints, we can help you showing some errors and so on and so on. But if you work on a library, like if you use our libraries from somewhere, we usually treat it just like every other piece of Scala code. But in case of those few, they are popular enough that we contributed some work to make the plugin a bit more smarter. So we can, for example, see that the given syntax that is very specific for play or specific for any unit actually is okay if we talk only about the Scala syntax, but maybe this is not exactly what you wanted because in terms of, I don't know, play framework, probably this is not the best idea to do it this way, do something different way. Also, of course, in the cases of the test frameworks, this is about running tests, about debugging inside the tests. Yeah, I will just say something in a moment about it, but there's also one more thing. Because we work on the IntelliJ platform, and the platform supports plugins, and Scala plugin is also part of it, but more like integrated with IntelliJ, but still a plugin. It is possible to build plugins, like third-party plugins that rely on our plugin. So, for example, Igor Tabachnik wrote the Zio IntelliJ and Zio Test IntelliJ plugins that rely on the Scala plugin, but give everyone also some additional logic that understands that a project is a Zio project. And well, you can do it too, but I don't want it to sound as if I want you to work for us for free. But this is kind of a way that some things can be fixed. That instead of just waiting for the IntelliJ to introduce something that maybe is too specific, maybe this is something that really just your team work with, and then maybe you can contact us and we can talk how this can be turned into like a mini, really tiny plugin that works with your code, and that's it, and that solves your problem, maybe. Yeah, new UI. I made those little slides like this so I won't forget about anything. So new UI is, if you use IntelliJ right now, you should already be used to it, I guess, I hope. So we have those few things that are pretty new, that we have different colors of different parts of the menus, like that big one here, the smaller one beneath it, even smaller ones beneath it as well. Let me just turn this off. And yeah, and then we have that there are more space between elements. You can see that like editor is like more clearly separated from the menu here, and from those elements at the top, and from the elements at the bottom. And one more thing is that we moved from icons that are like fully drawn, fully painted, to ones that are more like outline and some color on the outline, because that's kind of a modern trend. That's it. I don't know, I like it. If you don't like it, of course, you can just hop to the settings, to appearance and behavior, new UI, and you can turn it off. I'm not going to do it now. Yeah. And debugger. The debugger here, this is a unit. This is just like a, I don't know, one small test that creates a list map and lazy list, and then asset equals of something from that lazy list. What I wanted to show you though is that we can now, because I put the breakpoint here, the breakpoint, by the way, can be also have its own conditions, so it's only like a it's a conditional breakpoint that also helps if you, for example, have a method that is called 1,000 times, but you want to stop only at the moment when some value is some argument has some value. But if now I have a breakpoint here and I run it as in the debug mode, and nothing happens. No, that happens. Okay, so as you can see, we have, or maybe you can't see because it's quite small. So on the left we have the usual call stack. We can go also to the compiled methods inside a unit, but that's not really that important. Let's stay here. Let's pretend that this assert equals here really like tests some logic from some program. And you can see that if, because we have this list and map, on the right here, you can see the values inside that collection. And also you can see that value here in the inline hints, something that I will also talk about later. So list and map. Map is really like a collection of tuples. So if you would go here inside, you will see that this is just 1, 1, 2, and so on. And lazy list, the thing with lazy list is that it's not evaluated until it's called. So we can't say right now how big it is. But if I click on it, then the debugger inside IntelliJ will evaluate first 10 elements of that list. And if I click here, then it will evaluate 10 more and so on until we go through the whole list, or there will be out of memory error. Yeah, and basically that's it. The same thing is here. Yeah? If I click here, I will see the same thing as what is here in the inline hints. All right, stop it. Okay, compilation charts. Compilation charts is a feature that helps us. Let's do it like this. I can rebuild the project. This is, by the way, Scala IntelliJ plugin. And if I go here to the build view and I click on the chart, then you can see that we have this list of modules that are being compiled, and it's compiled, it's being compiled, and it's being compiled, and so on. And yeah, okay, let's just work on this, what we have here. In time, this should go to the right, but right now it's not. We can just see that these are modules that are being compiled. We can also show that there are phases inside the module, so it shows me that the phase typer took 3 milliseconds out of 4 and so on. This can be useful if we have if we suspect that our big project that has some kind of smaller modules inside, that one of those modules can be a place where the compilation is stuck, and maybe we should just work on that one place to restack it. What if sorry, I will just try to run it again. Maybe we will see some action actually. Yeah, so now we can see that, okay, those modules are being compiled separately, in parallel, but some of them, depending on our configuration, need to wait for some other modules. So when we get enough information this way, then we can use it to try to speed up our compilation. And stop. Again, go back to the slide. SBT auto completion, that's actually here in the, sorry, I'm left-handed. And build, yeah. So that's a that's in fact a simple inspection, or something that checks if our dependencies in SVT actually are as we claim them to be. Here, let's say we use chimney from Scalaland, and we try to, and let's pretend it's not here, and let's try to add it again, but in a different way. We can just write here in the dependencies chimney or chimney, okay, and this will just try to access Maven Central or whatever we have there as specified as our dependency server, and this will give us the first part of the dependency, and then if I try here, this will show me what it knows about the versions. The newest version of Chimney is actually 0.8.0, but for some reason it's not listed here because we rely on the information we have in the server. Some libraries are a bit, I don't know, slower with giving us data about that, or for some different reasons we just don't know about the actual versions of it. So yeah, that's it. I just thought that this might be fun and it might actually help if you have some problems with dependencies in your products. Okay. Inspections, well, that's, I guess, pretty common, like bread and butter of every product. IntelliJ with Scala gives us abilities to, well, it goes through our code, it goes through the syntax, it goes through the collections, it gives us a lot of hints how we can change things. I need 2 hands for it, and I need to keep it like this, so maybe I'll just walk you through it very, very slowly. Yeah, so for example, we have filter and then head options from that from what is filtered. So that actually means that we only need to find something. If I now this, then it will just do this. If I here we have filter, and we only want to check if we want to filter from another set. We have 2 sets, so a faster thing that we can do is actually intersect. And so on and so on. We can exist, that only checks if really contains, filter that then which we use then to just get the size of the filtered collection, we just count, and so on. And for example, another inspection that can be useful is that we can check if we have if the method is used at all in our project. If it is not, then it's gray instead of blue. Or it can be also checked, like if I'm able to do this. No, don't do this. Okay, now. Or yes, IntelliJ also can check if our method is actually used outside the private scope. If it's not, it will tell us that it can be private. These 2 work together somehow, because checking if something is unused when it's public takes time. But if we also check if it can be private, it helps us with setting all the things in our project in a way that it makes it easier for us to see that something is only in the smaller scope, not in the bigger. It also helps our friends, our colleagues to read our code, and it also helps the IDE, because if we like make this method private, and we then see that, and then we can see that the method is unused outside. We don't have to check that much to check if the method is unused. So basically, 2 very nice inspections that I really recommend to use. Yeah, and here we have some options that can be also inspected. Map and get_else can be exist or fold, or maybe for all instead of exist, depending on do we want it to be true or false if our map doesn't work and returns none. Here we have a few more complicated ones. One is that we can check if, IntelliJ can check if inside a map of a monad we have a side effect, and we are, well, in this case we don't have a quick fix for you, but this is generally something that probably shouldn't be here, right? The side effects inside map. And here, the other one is a bit of a stretch, but I wanted to show it to you. So let's say we have a future that we then put inside another future. There is an inspection in IntelliJ that looks for stateful monads. And I know future is not really a monad, but let's pretend that it's here. So if we have a monad, a stateful monad, so a stateful means that it has a state inside that can be changed, and we put that in another monad, then that also doesn't look good. You can go and just say, I know better, and remove that, and disable that inspection. Actually, I can show it to you. Yeah. Inspections. Here, monad, nested state of monad, go, all is fine. Yeah, and same with, for example, if value is instance of int, I can also, this is also like there is a possibility to change it into a switch match case instead of just if else, but okay, let's do something more interesting. Okay, another thing that IntelliJ can do is to manage your automatic imports of implicits. Here, for example, I remove all this. We can see that there will be a lot of errors here. We don't know how to transform that sequence into a Java collection. That future is not supported, that future also needs a context. Here we have some duration that needs something to be able to call second fund, and so on and so on. So what I can do now is simply follow the hints IntelliJ gives me. And that's it. All those imports that were here were actually put at the top of the file, but because we don't exactly know where do you want them, so I would need to copy them down here again, but that's not important. So inspections, inline hints. Inline hints, I'll just show it before, are those gray, ghostly texts that show next to some of the arguments, so the results of the methods, and also like here in the call tree. So you can see that we have words that is a sequence of strings, and then with every transformation, something in the type of that collection changes, and IntelliJ can show it to you here on the right. If you don't want it, you can actually just click right here, remove that. This is method called chains. And if you want it back, you can go to the settings, something I open. If you go here, so since the last release, we have a new Scala pop-up, but it improved. We have all the traits here in the line. We can go to everything that is already here, so you can just browse through all the documentation. Yep, that's it. Okay, and Scala free support, because that's probably something that can be interesting to you. IntelliJ Scala team started working on the Scala free support actually even before Scala free came out in the beginning of 2020. Already there we had some support for the new syntax, for error highlighting, navigation, type intro, And if you go to, we have a blog, and if you go to the release notes on that blog that are appearing like 3 times per year, you will see that actually almost every one of those release notes have this big chapter in the beginning that tells you that something new was added, we fixed something that wasn't working before, we have some experimental support for something that we want to work in the future, and so on and so on. And yeah, we are working on it since 2020. And and at the end I will give you the link to the blog. Please go there, please look through all the details. And yeah, before we go there though, I would like to also talk about one more thing from IntelliJ. That's AI assistance. And that's also not yet ready. That's we need. If you want to try to use it, you will have to go to the subscribe to a list for people who are like let in, because we are using open AI and we just need to keep the usage of it in some controlled way. Here you have AI actions. I just open it on the method to generate doc, and with it we can write documentation for the method, which is it's not going to be good, because of course AI only looks like, if you just look at it, it will only read this part of the code, so it won't go further, it doesn't know what's there. So apparently it will tell me just that we can append a header, it doesn't know what a header is. So I wouldn't use it that much, and I'm not a very big fan really. I try to be honest. But if I go here, for example, you can just explain that method to us, and yeah, that it will tell us that the Scala code provided that it defines a function called generate doc, which produces a documentation of string, blah 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 blah. This can be good, I think, if you don't have a code reviewer. So, and apparently, let's be serious. We always say that we need another pair of eyes. We need someone to look at our code, talk to us, blah blah blah, and then our code actually, yeah, it becomes better. But quite often we don't, right? We just have to write something, push it. Someone probably will look at it, but also not really like in the way we would like it. And so AI assistance is better than nothing, I think. One thing that can be helpful, although, is that if you look at those here, I need 2 hands. If you go to AI actions and you see all those prompts here, they are really just like prompt plus the code. If I go to edit user prompts, I can create new ones. So actually, if you may just think about how does AI might help you maybe in a bit more precise way, that the prompt you use and the selection can give you something, I don't know, something that actually makes sense. Also, if you are concerned about data sharing, we, of course, to make AI help you, we need to give to OpenAI this code, this part of the code that the AI will tell you something about. Your colleagues have IntelliJ on their computers. You can start working on the same code jointly. So, like in Scala docs, you will see that another person is editing the same code to make comments. You can also start talking with your headphones while working on the same code. I highly recommend that. Yes. About not the inspections, but what I talked about Scala-free support, and about also all other things you find in the IntelliJ Scala support to be a problem, or if you think something could be better, or if you have an idea for a new feature, please give us your feedback. We really rely on what we get from our users, because we work on things like, yeah, we already have a lot of tickets, but their priority, or how much we should put work in them, is really, we only know about that if you tell us to. So you can go in the IntelliJ to help and submit feedback, and there you can describe the problem and just send our feedback to them. But you can also just go to our U-Track here and create a new ticket, or just go to the list of tickets that are already open. Maybe someone opened that ticket already. Do you want me to take it? Okay. And yeah, and that's it. You can, just like I talked before, please visit our blog, read about the release notes, find us on the platform previously known as Twitter, and you can also go and find our Discord, IntelliJ Scala Plugin, and someone there is there every day, as well as on the official Scala Discord. That's it.